It's time now for the week that was. Let's take a look at the top stories that made headlines around the globe this week. Starting with 3 more people have been confirmed dead following last Tuesday's deadly explosion in Ibadan, the capital of Oyo State. Officials say evacuation and rescue of victims will continue until all persons declared missing are accounted for. The blast has left 5 residents dead and about 77 others injured. Arise correspondent Olutayo Famous Cole reports.
The storm is yet to settle, but it's time to pick up what is left of the disaster site of Tuesday's deadly explosion in the Adenriola street of Bodija in the ancient city of Ibadan, which has left 5 victims dead and about 77 sustained varying degrees of injuries. Earth-moving equipment had been deployed to the scene to clear the debris and perhaps rescue more victims. The operations emergency team is also on the ground. Head of the team and incident manager, Professor Temitope Alonge, gives an update on the explosion.
Yesterday, we were able to retrieve 1 corpse, but not full body. It was smashed up, and we were able to collect a few of the body parts. But unfortunately today, there's 1 more elderly woman that we've been looking for that has been taken to the forensic pathology unit for assessment. Otherwise, the site is calm. The Nigerian Society of Engineers, Oyo State chapter, are on ground, and they're looking at the integrity test because we insisted they should check that this morning. And for homes that fail the test, I'm afraid they will have to be demolished.
I have to be very sincere, that is where the security aspect of Nigeria is lacking. Because a kind sense of this shouldn't be in a residential environment. It's supposed to be in an industrial area. So Nigeria needs to buckle up on aspect of security and in looking into all these aspects so that it will not occur again.
Residents who are fortunate to be alive are picking up what is left of their property and heading for safer locations in line with the directives of the state government to evacuate for safety reasons. Other members of the operation center say all hands are on deck towards ensuring that all victims are properly integrated back into the society.
For those people that are badly affected that don't have anywhere to go, have been asked to stay in hotels around Ibadan. And apart from their shelter, they are also providing food for them as a temporary measure. So they are there now with all those supports and even psychosocial support too. For those that they need to be talked to psychologically because this is devastating. It's a disaster. So we know that either now or later they will still need psychosocial or psychological support. So that's also being provided. And people have come to say that if we need more hands, they are on ground to help the state. So that's what has been happening now. And for those that are in hospitals, we have them in various hospitals. Some were taken to University College Hospital, and they are stable, they are doing well. Some are in Redeemer's Hospital beside Asmore. They also are doing well. Some are in Hilltop Hospital at Mokola. The reports we got from there also is encouraging.
I believe the incident manager, who has done tremendous work of coordinating activities here, has already briefed you on what we've done, both in the rescue and the recovery efforts. Unfortunately, we are merging into recovery efforts. It doesn't look like we're going to recover or rescue anybody in the circumstance here, but miracles have happened. And we keep an open mind that we may still get some people, who may still be alive. But it's getting to a recovery effort. And that's why, as he rightly indicated, I am on the scene. We've been working at the background in the post-mortem management of this disaster. And that is essentially in disaster victim identification.
The state governor has been visiting victims to encourage them, and even as he has given an assurance that perpetrators of this heinous act will definitely face justice.
For some, this disaster, which is avoidable, is a time to give thanks. And for others, it's sorrow and regret. But the central message is for Nigerians and indeed residents all across the country to be more vigilant and cautious of their environment and partner with security agencies to ensure that disasters like this are brought to an abrupt end. Olutayo Famous Cole, Arise News, Ibadan.
Well, definitely fresh updates coming in there from Ibadan in Oyo State. During the week, I had a chance to speak to Olutayo Famous Cole, who has been on ground since it happened on Tuesday. He's been on ground since Tuesday, bringing us live reports. And even from that report there, we could see the head of emergencies talking about the fact that they've been able to, take a few people to the hospital. However, as at the time I spoke to him, there had only been 3 casualties, but as of yesterday, that number increased to 5. And it might seem like a small number, but for every if a Nigerian life is lost, it is definitely not something that should be taken lightly. And there's just been different conversations coming out of this. At first, there was a misinformation or miscommunication. People saying it was a gas explosion, and then eventually we found out that it was the storage of illegal mining explosives, which now brings us to accessing the impact of such an explosion and understand that this is not something that just happened overnight. It's something that had been happening over time. And even though, there's 77 people who are in the hospital and there are 5 people who are dead, it's not something that should be taken lightly. There's an investigation that has come out. A Malian, someone from a citizen from Mali has been identified. However, no name has been given just yet as to being the person that occupied that house. And that just speaks to a lot of things. Is this in itself a one-off occurrence? Yesterday, I was watching on the morning show as well, I was watching an interview with Fatai Owoseni, who is the special advisor on security to the governor, Seyi Makinde, who specifically mentioned that it's clear to see that this storage of explosive devices is not necessarily something that is a one-off occurrence, but they must have been stockpiling these explosives for a long time. So it's up to the Oyo State government and the security apparatus in that state to begin to look into these things. There's so many levels of insecurity, and if miners can store explosives that would lead to the deaths of 5 citizens and injure 77 others and destroy not only people's lives but people's properties, then it has to be investigated thoroughly.
I agree. I think for me, this is a huge tragedy, and it's a man-made tragedy. And whether it is illegal mining or legal mining with improper storage of explosions, I think we will find out over the next coming weeks. At the end of the day, there is no reason why explosions should be stored in a residential area in Abuja State. And as you said, there has been loss of lives and property. There are still people who are yet unaccounted for. So there are still people who are missing. And we hope that the death toll does not increase. We hope that people who are ill and injured, we hope they recover. We hope that there is there's an economic stimulus given to the people within that area, because we have seen where we have disaster relief that people do need help in when it comes to their businesses, their homes. You have people who are internally displaced, for lack of a better term, within Ibadan. I do appreciate that Seyi Makinde, the governor of Oyo State, has housed people whose homes have been destroyed or whose homes have been, damaged beyond they're inhabitable. So I do appreciate that Seyi Makinde has taken disaster response seriously. But I also think that this shows us that we need emergency response services all around Nigeria to be much more responsive. We need them to take matters seriously, because even within the last week, we also had the fire that happened in Kaduna State, and they were waiting for the fire service to get there. And this shows that we need to be prepared. We can't wait.
Proactive.
We need to be proactive. We can't be reactive. We need to be proactive, and we need our systems in place. And we also need I appreciate Seyi Makinde because he's been communicating with the people of Ibadan. He's been communicating with the people of Nigeria. And it sets a good example that because when there is lack of communication from the government, then all these theories will go around online. You know, there's so many unsubstantiated rumors, and we need to make sure that we, as Nigerians, take everything very seriously, all the information that we're hearing, because we also do not want a knee-jerk reaction like the governor said previously on channels. We also want that, you know, you can't just say we should ban mining. You can't just say you should ban foreigners, you know, because in terms of when a tragedy happens, people respond, you know, emotionally, which is very valid. So I think the governor is doing the right thing, and I hope he continues to communicate with us and continues this investigation. And we hope that the people who are responsible are held responsible for their actions, because there has been too much damage and suffering, I'd say.
Okay, with you.
So moving on to insecurity now, at least 134 people have been kidnapped in the last 3 months in the Federal Capital Territory. This is according to the Public Complaints Commission for the Federal Capital Territory, which claims that the minister, Nyesom Wike, has not been properly briefed on the high level of insecurity in the nation's capital. Arise correspondent Tunji Olanipekun filled this next report.
The Commission says insecurity within the nation's capital has taken a disturbing trend, with 135 people kidnapped within the last 3 months in the 6 area councils of the FCT. The Federal Commissioner of the Public Complaints Commission in the FCT, Dalhatu Ezekiel, said this while briefing journalists on the high rate of kidnapping and banditry, saying that the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike seemed not to have been properly briefed on the high level of insecurity in Abuja.
The Commission is so worried because Abuja is the capital city of Nigeria, the mirror through which the entire world sees this country. And if we allow and keep quiet and remain docile with the happenings, it will consume everybody. As we speak, people are deserting their communities in the rural community, migrating to the nearest urban cities. And in the whole 6 area council, there is no area council that has not been ravaged and sieged by these bandits and kidnappers, killing people on their farms, in their houses, in their shops, and all what me. It's very, very unbecoming, and I want to call the attention of the Honorable Minister to this ugly trend that is going on in the FCT.
Following the fresh killing of 4 out of 11 abducted residents of the Sagwari estate layout in the Duse area of Abuja, including a 13-year-old student identified as Folorunsho, the PCC says it has received several complaints from both individuals and groups over abduction and killings by bandits. It says kidnappers are having a free day while innocent people are killed, kidnapped and robbed of their belongings.
We need to engage and empower the civilian JTF, because when it happens, what we do is reactional. We deploy security agencies, they go there, do operation and come back. And these criminals have intelligence. As soon as the security return back, they go back to the other community. In fact, when they go to attack Buhari and we deploy security to Buhari, they go back to Kuje and left the scene in Buhari and then distract the attention of the security agency to Kuje Area Council. And when we go after them in Kuje, they go to Abaji. This is how they have been just stealing and playing with the intelligence of our security.
The PCC Commissioner also called on the FCT Minister to declare a state of emergency on insecurity, as the spate of kidnapping in the FCT is a major threat to peace and businesses across the territory.
All right, this is a very interesting update. We've been seeing everything that's been happening in the FCT, and it is definitely facing an alarming surge in insecurity, prompting concerns among residents and authorities. The capital city, FCT, was once considered relatively immune to the prevalent security challenges in other parts of the country. It is now grappling with this escalating wave of criminal activities, particularly kidnappings. Now, according to a 2020 report by SB Morgan, Abuja was ranked 11th among locations with frequent abductions, which is a stark revelation of the evolving security landscape within the region. Now, over the last 3 years, close to 50 kidnap cases have been recorded in Abuja involving over 200 individuals. And it's unfortunate that I actually know 1 or 2 people that have been kidnapped. One person, in fact, was killed because his family wasn't able to meet up with the ransom. The severity of the issue becomes more apparent when examining the data from January 2021 to June 2023, revealing approximately 40 recorded cases with a staggering 236 victims. But what I want to even touch on here is the fact that under the Nigerian Communications Act, operators in the telecommunications space are required to install equipment. And I raised this when I was talking to Dr. Kabir Adamu earlier in the week, because from my experience, or from the stories that we've been hearing, these kidnappers actually call the victims, put out this ransom. It gets paid. Sometimes they release the family members, sometimes they don't. And I asked him, why is it that when we talk about lawful interception of telecommunications, we do know that under the Nigerian Communications Act, like I mentioned, it is allowed for a public emergency or for the interest of the public safety of the people to be able to access communication data. The SIM card ownership for these lines is tracked under the 2011 regulation, whereby mandating for the collection of personal information, be it fingerprints, be it voice recording, be it photos, the police can get that. So it's a bit worrisome sometimes when I hear these stories, and it seems as if there is a disconnect. Earlier in the week, we saw the body language of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration calling for a meeting with the security chiefs. But my question is, what was top of the agenda? Yeah, do we need more communication between the security apparel? What exactly is going on, and how can we stop insecurity from even getting worse?
You're talking about the body language from the administration of the president, but I want to say that the body language from the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, for me was absolutely disappointing. His response has been lethargic, and it seems like some people have speculated that he was too busy politicking in Rivers State than focusing on the lives and the livelihood of the people to which he is now in charge. He is now the FCT minister, and he should have been on seat. Now he has said, in the last last couple of hours, he has said that they have captured some bandits informants within the FCT, because obviously this is a network, this is a criminal enterprise, it's a for-profit enterprise. We have kidnapping for ransom, where you have individuals it's been alleged that some individuals go to drop ransoms, and when they go to drop the ransom, they themselves are kidnapped themselves. We have situations where family members are kidnapped, and you have people being killed and their bodies being returned, which means that the kidnappers are moving quite freely within the confines of an area which he is the chief security officer. It is absolutely unconscionable that the capital of Nigeria should be deemed unsafe. It is abhorrent. It is actually a shame that where our president is located, our president resides, a whole bunch of ex-governors and ex-senators are National Assembly members, and it seems that only in situations like this, it seems that the average Nigerian, the middle class, the poorer people are the ones who are afraid for their lives, because you have people who are within the privileged class who move with their own personal security. That is not the nation that we should be living in. It is absolutely a shame that the things that we have seen, that we turned a blind eye to within the last 8 years of the APC administration, when people saw it happening in the northeast, when they saw it happening in the southeast, when they saw it happening in areas and they felt like this will not touch me. It now seems like Nigeria can happen to anyone at any time. And the people who are in charge of keeping us safe, particularly Nyesom Wike, particularly our president, particularly the security chiefs, we need to see not just talk, not just emergency meetings after we have pleaded and we have raised our voices on the internet and on the media. We need to see action. Yes. I applaud the Nigerian security services who have been able to actually release kidnapping victims within the last week, where no ransom was paid, where people were rescued by our Nigerian security services, and I applaud them for that. And that is what we need more of. We want more rescues, we want more kidnappers and bandits
arrested and prosecuted.
And we want them to communicate all these things to us. So now let's go to the next story. President Bola Tinubu has commended his predecessor, Muhammadu Buhari's resilience in addressing economic turmoil and security threats in the country while he was in power. Speaking at the official launch of 2 books about the former president, Tinubu vowed to eliminate those he referred to as agents of darkness, responsible for nationwide insecurity. State House correspondent Adesua Omoruwan reports.
A rare reunion between President Bola Tinubu and his predecessor. The launch of 2 books on the life and legacy of former President Muhammadu Buhari, attended by top government officials, marked the first meeting since the change of leadership on May 29, 2023. President Tinubu emphasized the historical significance of the gathering, praising Buhari's resilience during economic and security challenges. He pledges to stay focused on safeguarding lives and property.
The job of securing every inch of our nation may not be completed, but you did a wonderful job. And we will not rest, I promise you, until every agent of darkness is completely eliminated.
Drawing parallels between his leadership style and that of Buhari, President Tinubu thanked him for maintaining a civic approach and non-interference in governance.
We've partnered to make democracy flourish in Nigeria. President Muhammadu Buhari, thank you. Except when I call him to say, are you leaving? Are you being in the farm? You don't hear from him either to nominate or intrude in the cabinet or complain about occasions.
In response, Buhari characterizes his relationship with Tinubu as cordial, expressing his continued support for the current administration. He acknowledged the necessity of tough decisions and maintained that his administration was transparent, accountable, and documented for posterity.
We kept records of our stewardship, knowing that we would always be required to account for the trust entrusted to us. This event today is part of the accounting for our 2 terms in office, and I thank those who have labored day and night to ensure that this history is recorded for now and the future.
Former head of state and chairman of the occasion praises the seamless transition and positive interaction between both presidents.
But it is really great to see you at the podium and handing over to your successor, President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And I can assure you, I was really happy that you are able to successfully hand over to another great leader that is going to give Nigeria a new direction as well.
The book releases, authored by Femi Adesina, and a compilation edited by Udu Yakubu, offers distinct perspectives on Buhari's political journey. Adesina's Working with Buhari, the Reflections of a Special Advisor, Media and Publicity, provides an intimate portrayal of the former president's personal interactions with his spokesperson.
For me, Buhari is a conviction. Not just our former president or somebody I served. For me, it's a conviction. A lot of people wonder, what has the man given you that you are so loyal to him? I know not everybody shares this passion about Buhari, but there's a common song now. Let them day their day and make we day our day. Nobody worry nobody. So we that are Buharis, we know ourselves. Let nobody worry nobody. Even after 8 years of being president, President Buhari, and so many books written, President Buhari still remains an enigma
to many Nigerians who want to understand who really is President Buhari. Not the public persona, but who is he as a person. And I think Femi Adesina has done a great job, especially in covering an aspect of the former president that is not well known, which is his sense of humor.
Muhammadu Buhari, The Nigerian Legacy, Volume 1 to 5, delves into the political career of the former president, covering key policy decisions, diplomatic triumphs, and challenges faced during his tenure. President Tinubu, echoing sentiments expressed by many here, promises to integrate these books into the educational curriculum. He emphasizes the importance of learning from the past for the nation's future development, particularly in history classrooms. Adesua Omorwan, Arise News.
What an amazing report from my namesake over in Abuja. And it's nice to see President Muhammadu Buhari back in Abuja from Daura looking very healthy. The country is not stressing him again. He said that, we stressed him when he was in office, so he looks much healthier. He's glowing, I'd say that.
Definitely.
Buhari was glowing at that book launch.
When we were in secondary school and you would have that senior who's graduated and he comes back and you're just wondering, why do you look so different? I definitely agree.
And I also think that it's so lovely that we do have somebody who's writing a book about the president's time in office. I think in Nigeria it's very I'm a history buff. I'm a history buff. I love books and I love when things are documented because we need to document our history, even its contemporary history, because now Buhari is technically contemporary history. He's out of office. And so I think it's very important that people are documenting. An insider, is documenting Buhari's legacy from his own perspective. And it's also lovely to see our former First Lady Aisha Buhari also. So I think, it's good job on
their part. Yes. I mean, it was the first time former President Buhari and his successor, President Tinubu, have appeared publicly together, if you think about it, since the handover on May 29, 2023. And like you said, very important to document history. This was part of 2 books, including one by Femi Adesina, who's the former special advisor to President Muhammadu Buhari on media and publicity. And the book titled Working with Buhari, Reflections of a Special Advisor, while the other is in 5 volumes and jointly written by dozens of authors. So it's interesting to see, it's really interesting rather to see these different perspectives and how they were able to view the president, the former president. But of course, like you said, looking good, serving Nigeria cannot be easy, especially with everything that has happened. And it was very important to know that while President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was addressing the audience, he did say thank you to former President Buhari for not interfering in his government for a successful transition of power. So, I know they're in the same party, but it could have gone in a different manner.
As was highlighted, I think it's very good that they said that he's tackling these agents of darkness, because that means he knows the tone of the people, he knows that our temperature is a little different. We're not in a celebration mood right now across the country. So at least he's focused on the right thing.